All right. So the one thing that was a problem, or at least one of the things that was a problem, was some files in Windows. I didn't know that until I ran SFC. That's the system file checker, and it came up with a few issues that are repaired. That is in my terminal window here, lovely as it is. One thing I didn't know is that this saved the information of where it was. And also this one, this opens up now, which is nice and expected. So I guess that is just going to be me continuing from here. This was started at 12:53, I believe, and the last stream was started at 12:30. Hopefully, I'll remember to check this one to see when the times are for both. All right, with that said, I'm going to continue from here. All right, all right. So, and thankfully, this also saved information that I thought might not happen, particularly this and this, which means I think we're right about where I clicked preview. So I'm gonna see what happens. I see that I probably should also set these to like 1.5. Or maybe I should set this to a little lower than 1.5. This police officer here. Wait, am I not allowed to interact with any of these anymore? Did one of them get one of them must have been opened or something. No, none of them. That is unusual. All right. So let's see. Post new interact code. Maybe something did mess up. Then again, my programming isn't always top notch. And it's prone to errors at some point. So this looks about right. Interact type, interactables. Interact as disable is 1. Interact exposed is 2. Is it? Did I might have that's what didn't save. Alright, but that's not too big of a deal. Hopefully. Yeah, I gotta set these. They're all the same thing. Was at least one of these opened up. I really have to do something about the collision. It's really annoying to go through doors. I didn't realize how annoying it was to go through doors until I started noticing it. Okay, so that's a sentence and a half. It's a I guess technically that is the truest sentence, since it only relies upon itself. I guess maybe it also relies on the fact that I did start noticing. Eh, semantics. Is that semantics? Who knows what I'm saying? I I don't. Unless I really shouldn't be saying anything. I think I get why that's happening now. So this reverting this code actually did something. It checked a position variable inside where uh, so if I go ahead and paste this here, as slightly inefficient as it is, it probably will actually work better. I'm gonna double test. I'm gonna test that though. I think when I upload this to YouTube, did I forget to start the timer? No, I didn't. When I upload this to YouTube, I think I'm going to do a part 1 and part 2, just because this was meant to be one stream. Technically, it would be 2. Here, what was the thing right, I set doors to work differently. And I mean, I guess they're working differently. Or rather, it's the player that works differently. I'm not clipping as much into like the door corner pieces. I know what's happening when I'm like stopped. It's because I'm actually colliding with the wall in one direction and I'm not pushing enough in. Like, yeah, right here is about the corner. And I botch it anyways. In any case, I think this is working better, a lot more smoothly. It's hard to convey over just video, but like if you're playing this, you would understand that it does indeed feel smoother, at least in terms of what my mind is telling me from the is it a feedback loop? I suppose yeah, it is a feedback loop. It's kind of what games are. It's a feedback loop. You do a thing happens on screen, supposedly anyways, and then you take that new information and do a thing. Wait, I actually need in here. All right, so Wait, no, it's object spawning, which is stage 3. Armor. 1.5. Was it on what's stage 2 have to say? They're 1.5. I feel like they're slightly bigger than they need to be, so 1.25. And yeah, I am seeing that there's uh none of this, which there needs to be. Hopefully that sets things correctly now. I mean, I still have to do displacement, but also I have to fix the fact that these aren't opening up one thing at a time. But it does seem like they are separate, and they know that they're separate. And I am going to double check that I actually set this correctly. Yep. Alright. That means interactables, exposed of interactables should be 2 until it happens to this, which then it should be 1. This, I suppose, was another thing that went under my radar, that this didn't change, or it wasn't different. Alright, hopefully we're now up to speed on what I was doing. Now will these open up? Yes, they will. Delectable, which is a very weird way to describe something like this. Did hold on, play in a window. No, they're not around here. Around here. That's where they are. And they killed me. Well, at least I know one thing, which is when it's empty, it appears. Also, I don't think I actually set anything uh, for that. Yeah, right here. Interactables. What type does it have to be? Type 5. Type 5. Interactables. Evidence. Weapon UID. victim UID. And we'll copy that over to here because I know I didn't change that and I entirely overlooked that. I could easily store the fact that it is uh, a weapon in, or it is the uh, murder weapon inside of the potential murder weapon itself. But then that leads to possible redundancy issues. If a game starts behaving incorrectly and sets two objects to one thing, and then from then on just decides to ignore the fact that it was behaving incorrectly and basically pretend nothing bad happened, which is the default things that programs tend to do, it will then allow you to see that two things are the murder weapon instead of the designated one thing. But here, it's one variable, and thus it only looks at one variable. And unless it's changing that variable on the fly, which I can't prevent everything. All right, that one's just going unsearched. All right, it's got to be that one thing that I couldn't check so far. Got to be this. Unless I'm forgetting something over here. Which, as far as I can tell, I am not. Alright. But since there's a thing in the way, I'm just gonna delete and delete. Now, hopefully, that one thing that I couldn't check earlier is indeed the thing I needed to check. No, then I have a bigger issue. The issue at hand is that there is not a single there's not a interact type 5 victim UID. There's not a victim thing, which is an incredibly weird way to say there's not a thing that contains the victim inside of it, where it should. Time for yet another probe. Probe 10 was weapon UID. Probe 11 is, you guessed it, unless you didn't, victim UID. Pull up the debugger for this one. I'm gonna just mosey it on over here. Gonna look around probe 10. Because probe 10 or probe 11, I think will pop right below it. Probe 11 is 20. Is there an object 20? There might be an object 20. $19.20. Where is that? 120. Okay, so it's in the corner up here. It's this one. And sure enough, there it is. And what was the deal last time? Is there one that I'm not seeing? I don't know. It will be 145. Alright, I suppose that makes sense. So no, that is in place. I guess I can continue on with, let's see. Actually, I would, if I'm going to do chalk, then I would have to implement that. But let's see. Tractable CYD, exposed 2, then you would get exposed 1. However, there's nothing here for that item. Case elements, weapon, and what's the thing for it? Win condition, weapon, victim. Actually, I think see, case elements of weapon is set to 2. I feel like there should be something here that sets it to 1. I'm gonna do that. If I remember, that should give it a blinking indicator. Alright, might be a little tired at the moment. Right, so first, there's no indication. I was certain that there would be some sort of indication. Okay. There's a dead guy. No, I don't need a bag anymore. There's a dead guy. Hmm. So I know what I'm going to do. So when uh just one thing as a thing. So interact that set. I'm going to also set that here. Interact that set will be 0. Since interact that set will be 0 when you let go of A, that means that interact that set 0 is going to execute and then it's going to set it to 1. So that should do something. But also, let's see. Win conditions. Victim, case elements that victim is 1. Now, I'm pretty sure case elements that, oh, it's set to 2. There we go. Case elements that victim should be 1 now. But also, case display. I think that's for case elements that victim. Case elements that weapon should be 1 then. You know what I'm gonna do? There's a time thing, right? Yes. I'm going to choose 2 or 3 based off of this time thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check a few seconds, or I'm going to check an expression of local time, comma, 0.5. Actually, yeah, why not? Is less than 0.25. Trigger once false true is greater than or equal to, should be 2. Hopefully that looks nice. Maybe not. Since there only is one object that does, or that receives that kind of behavior, and I'm using words very weirdly, it shouldn't matter that there's a once whilst true. Whereas in like in the player's controller code, since there's potentially multiple things that will be using controllers, I didn't want to do once whilst true when using controller input because that is weird. Also, I think I don't have anything for setting it to like 2 or something when it's just being pressed. I could do that. Maybe? Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. Okay. So, I forgot that this would be only after this should probably be like here-ish. But you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. If interact.progress is, I don't need these. Is not 0, then it will set that to 0. Hopefully this works. Perhaps I should move this code above the code that sets it for whatever. I think what will happen is there will be a 1 frame flicker. All right. Yeah, it's flickering. But only flickers when you let go. I also didn't want to have the things stay there when you can't interact with it anymore, but I wanted to have it there whilst you're still holding down A. There we go. One thing down. Oof. I feel like that might be a little too fast. I'm gonna try every half second switching between two, which means that every second it will do a cycle. So to do that, 0.5, 0.5, 1. No, it's I just thought about it, and it's amazing that computers are, well, they're digital, yes, but they're made from components that can be considered analog. But it's through a lot of science that a bunch of individually analog components, plus some standards for how to interact with them. And I guess maybe some digital components that may set those standards. It comes together to make a very finely tuned logic machine. Right, so what I want to do. Wait, did I even change anything? Hold up. Oh yeah, I changed the timing. I want to see if it's to taste. Because I think a quarter of a second uh, is too long. Or too short, not too long. Didn't see them. Maybe it's the visual of it, visual itself. Maybe if it had like another frame that didn't have the blood drip, it would be a little less jarring. Like, okay, well, I can't quite show it, but if only one player, or not every single player that's in the game, so not every single player that's in the game, which would mean somewhere between 0 and every single player in the game, is in the foyer, then this would actually blink, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm remembering that incorrectly. But I don't know. I think that one works because there's no change in like what's being displayed. It's just color or not. So I guess it would look something like this. Right. Right. So what was I doing before I had to before I decided to change that? Right. I have no idea. However, I'm going to try to see if knife A looks anything. And not that. Wait, what's this over here? Oh, I suppose that makes sense. I'm going to change that one and that one And this one to knife A. Ah, yes. It does not spawn. Did I type that in correctly? Knife A. Knife A. Is knife A in here? Pretty sure it is, but I could be wrong. Perhaps not? Is it map? Of course it is. Alright, let's see. I think it will be just about 10 minutes. I was about to say 10 minutes, but then I looked, and then it just kind of like, if I say it's just about 10 minutes, and it's 10 minutes, which it is, it just looks like I looked at it without guessing. And there's no way to prove that I did guess. So I guess I'm stuck with that. In any case, it'll be about 10 minutes. Okay. So there might be a slight issue. I don't seem to be able to interact with any of these, which is a bit of a problem. It, oh wait, hold on. Interactables might not actually be in there. Half certain it wasn't. Make that 3/4 certain that it wasn't in there. A little bit more credence because it's compiling. If I am using the term credence correctly. Maybe not. .38. Oof. That is not what you like to see. In any case, I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna change this to knife B. I'm gonna change a few of these to knife B. Because I want to see how they look. Right, I suppose technically knife B and C don't have any spawn code, so they won't actually spawn. I can change that. And you know what's another thing I can change? There we go. And also these should have a random rotation applied to them. I want to see how they look. And if I remember, there's none down here. Right. Also, I'm like, I should give more of a visual indication than just a exclamation mark. That, uh, wait, one of these was. Which one of these is. Do I not have the bloody texture implemented? I thought I did. Hold on a second. Close that, open it back up, so that way, right at the end, there will be the things. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, these do look bloody, or maybe with raspberry jam on it. Ah, well. Alright, so that means that there should be. I'm going to pay close attention to that, this right here. No. 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 This one is, but then there's. Wait, hold on. There's no bloodying of the. It should be bloodied. It's like times 4, right? The thing exposed times 4. Also, I noticed that the animation offset isn't, because this isn't an M. I'm gonna just change this. Alright, a little bit more time because I really want to get this problem solved. And I really want to see this working. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, actually copies the UID. Alright. Probably have that up there so that way if I want to I can have objects that spawn after the game has started. But I don't know if I'm gonna implement that. But probe 11 says 29. Right, but probe 10 is what we're looking for, so that says 18. Wait, hold on. Play code, probe, variable, weapon UID. Wait a minute. Why do I have this twice? I should probably have like interact UID or something like that there. This would make it easier to determine what's going on. All right. First, I need to set this. So now we have what probe 3 is interact ID, and probe 10 is weapon UID. Probe 3. And it is causing that. But it is not. Hold on. So 12 is a knife B, if I remember my knights correctly. Knife B, 8, 12. Exposed is 1, but it's not displaying anything like that. I see why that's happening. I realized why that's happening. I've spent a little while debugging code that was a very simple fix. I am an idiot. But at least I'm improving. Hopefully. What I find wild, and yes, this is related to computer. Hey, they're rotated. So, the reason why we have modern computers is all thanks to the Bell Telephone Company. Or rather, Bell Labs. If I remember correctly, they invented the transistor. And I mean, that is wild. Hey, I got all 3 things. Yay! I gotta say, this is a lot harder when you have the white cube murderer. Not, there we are. Because I remember a compile where I had something that I could just press to get into this with a white cube murderer, and it was a lot harder to go through. Because a white cube murderer does not care if you see him. It'll chase you down. I don't know why I'm folding all this. Well, I got the thing that I wanted to work, so this is going to be it. Thank you for stopping by if you did. And until like tomorrow at 11, not like 10:30 probably. Tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. Maybe a little earlier, maybe like an hour earlier. Until then, this is goodbye.